and I get to let my guard down and just kind of slip into that carefree, little to no inhibition version of myself. So, and Porsche. Porsche makes me cuss a lot. The top of the list. Porsche Dion Duval.
You know, I've met Porsche only once, and she seems like
she makes you cuss.
She's sweet and as innocent as white's only pie. So I don't know how she makes you curse her.
That little. What up? It's three brothers, no sense. I'm Tavares Ferguson, a.k.a. Ferg. Welcome to your favorite barbershop style podcast. I'm joined with my co-hosts, Razi and Buff. Fellas, tell them what's on your minds.
It wasn't long ago we talked about New Year's resolutions, and apparently the gray hairs in my beard made a New Year's resolution, and that is to flourish. Because we are barely out of January, and them suckers are coming in left and right, bro.
It's a year increase.
Boy, they are coming in, man. So
you've been hitting New Globe Baptist Church too much.
New Globe.
It's the year of the hair.
Man. Oh man, but it's cool. I'ma let them do their thing. You know, it's whatever. That's all I got. I don't have anything, man.
The ladies love the salt and pepper, man. Ladies love the salt and pepper, bro.
They do. Well, they say they do. I mean, I guess that's true. That's what they say. Our homeboy, I'm going to leave him unnamed. He doesn't believe that, so he dyes his. I don't know if he still does, but he was dyeing his for a while.
It's not me.
He had enough gray.
There's nobody on this show. Nobody on this show. But he is a mutual homeboy.
I need names after the show. I need a name.
I got you.
Because I'm gonna talk about them. So, because mine coming in too, and it's serious, and I'm ready for it. I like it, man. So
if they come in, they just come in as stragglers. So I'm not against it, but I'm not welcoming them with open arms.
Right.
I'm not against plucking a one or two. So it's just how it is.
So why you don't die, you pluck?
Yeah, I just if I see one, just like, because they're very inconsiderate. Like they just just be like one just poke out. It's just like it doesn't follow any pattern.
That is true. Yeah, they don't lay down like normal hair. Like,
yeah, so it's like you gotta go.
Like, yeah, is that lint? No. Okay.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I think I wear my beard a little thicker than yours. And so when they get thick, it just be like this long little strand that just stick right. So I'm not with it. What you got, Razi?
I just want to say Dave Chapelle is 100% the GOAT. So I had the pleasure of seeing the new Dave Chapelle Chris Rock show, and spoiler free, but man, it is a good show. God, it is a good show. I am super excited for the special when it comes out so I can watch it again. If they were near me or close enough to me, I'd probably go see them again. That's how good it is and how funny it is. Just to let you guys know, I think everybody kind of wondered about if Chris Rock was going to talk about the slap. He does. So that is probably why he didn't make a lot of comments before or after it. It's because he put it in his set. So you get that, you get talk about his divorce, you get like the stories and jokes are hilarious. The opening acts are funny. White people, any of our white listeners, if you go with a thick skin, because they go after white people in the crowd, and it's hilarious. So just to let you guys know. But
do they go after them, or are they
especially the opening acts, they like specifically, like, you know how they go in the crowd and heckle the crowd type thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so they actually like go after them. If you are white sitting in the front crowd, in the front row, or in the front rows, you might get called out. So just be ready for that.
I'm curious to see how both of these comedians will be received this year and the next year and going forward, because you have Dave Chapelle, who was arguably the most popular comedian just a few short years ago. And then he got all this pushback for his so-called LGBTQIA attacks. And now he's aligning himself with Elon Musk and people like that. And then you also have Chris Rock, who many people, I think, mischaracterize as Will Smith defending black women and defending his wife. I feel like he's defending his ego, but we're past that argument. But a lot of people were mad at Chris Rock for that Jada Pinkett joke. And I'm just curious to see when that special does drop, if people are going to tune in or if they're going to start pulling away from those two. Because I still love both.
I'll tell you, they'll probably tune in, but the set, they're going to get a lot of pushback and flack. So that cancel culture is going to be strong after the special drops.
Well, first of all, of course they're going to tune in. People want drama. People want to be in on drama. They want to be first to drama. So, yeah, they're going to tune in. Very interested to see the show. I was thinking about it the other day. I'm adding Dave Chapelle to one of the shows I have to see before it's all over. Like, I want to see him live. You know, I thought about this other day. Who are the great ones? Not just the comedians, but like the great artists, like the all-time greats that we have, entertainers, sports, athletes, all those people. Who have you seen? Who will you get to see?
Right.
You know, have you ever seen?
Did you see LeBron play? Right. Yeah. That type of thing.
You know, I think we mentioned this initially when Serena retired, right? And it's like, man, I wish I would have got to see her play, because you take for granted the fact that this person at some point is not going to be at the height of their craft, or they're gonna go away. You know, how many people thought Eddie Murphy was going to do stand-up that much longer and hasn't done stand-up in what, 20, 30 years? You know? And probably thought I ain't get to see Raw or, what was the second one?
Delirious?
Delirious, yeah. But I'll see the next one. Right? Never happened. So definitely want to see Chapelle. And it made me think of, this is not a real question, but made me think of, happened to be watching some clips the other day, and a Chapelle clip came on as far as one of his stand-ups, and then Bernie Mac followed, Kings of Comedy. And for me, that was one of the funniest segments ever. The milk and cookies joke. I mean, I don't think I've ever laughed that loud or that hard just at a whole set, because he was such a storyteller and brought you in that I haven't seen many do that. Even with Chapelle, I love Chapelle, but I think the way Bernie does it, that uncle mentality, that like you saw him. He always said, "I say the things that things people want to say." He says. So I kind of took that from him, but you know, I wanted to see Bernie one day, and you know, same thing never happened. So
I'll tell you who's funny if you get a chance, because you know, he's not as popular, especially now. But Earthquake, I saw him when he came here about a month ago, and he is freaking hilarious. So I think I probably laughed harder at Earthquake than I did at Chris Rock.
I can believe that. Chris Rock is really good. He's great. But sometimes his comedy can be a little too, maybe his delivery. It's just, sometimes his delivery annoys me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, he had some high points, some very good punchlines and everything like that. But when you talk about just laughing back to back to back, like can't catch a breath type thing, I think that's a little bit of what it is. It's with him and Chapelle, actually, because Chappelle's a little bit of a storyteller in there, and he has some pauses, and then his punchline hits, and you're like, oh my God, that's hilarious. But you're not laughing constantly in either one of their sets. Earthquake, on the other hand, his delivery so fast that you're laughing almost constantly where you can barely catch a breath. Chapelle and Chris Rock both did it towards the end of their sets where, you know, they built up and it's like, boom, okay, now I'm laughing for 10, 15 minutes straight. But Earthquake, I know there was probably a 20, 30 minute segment with his show that like I could barely catch a breath before the next punchline was coming.
Because I think Chris Rock and Chapelle and comedians like that are, and this is nothing against Earthquake or any other comedians, like they're that intellectual comic where you're thinking and they're setting up their punchline and
there's some double entendres in there. And
yeah,
like it's levels to the joke.
Yeah, Earthquake will just take you straight into it. Bernie Mac took you straight into it. Like, man, got them kids. Like, it's just the way he's just gonna give it to you, where you don't have to think about it. You can be 8 years old and understand where he's going with them, and you know. So,
yep.
But, glad we got a little laugh and chuckle. I guess we got to bring it up. The whole Memphis thing, you know, that brutal act. Once again, our people who are sworn to protect and serve did not do their job.
Yeah, I'll tell you though, I look at it a little different. This one for me is different, mainly because I don't look at it as a cop doing their day-to-day job and then it escalating and them doing something, say racist or them overstepping. I feel like just from the facts that I've seen, those boys jumped out on this kid and they that was personal with what they were trying to do. It wasn't the stop went bad and, you know, it became police brutality. I look at this group as they were just a gang that was like, yo, you crossed one of my boys and so you about to feel it. So I don't even know. And you know, the facts got to come out on all of that. But I look at this one different. It feels different than for me.
But you hear a lot of those police brutality stories, though, that it's like it's the gang mentality. It's overuse of power, overuse of force. I mean, even if you look back on The Wire, like to me, I saw a glimpse of the video. I could see this happening on The Wire, where they get somebody and they're just beating them brutally for whatever reason. Entitled, whatever. I don't know. I just to the Memphis community, stay strong. Make sure your voices are heard. To the families, to Nichols family, you know, my heart and prayers go with you. And I just hope that justice is served to everybody involved, because I'm pretty sure it's going to go deeper than those people in the video.
I want to say hats off to the DA for bringing the charges up. Hats off to the chief of police for firing them. Hats off to the city. I think they handled it really well with talking to the family and everything, showing them the video first. Like the way Memphis has handled the situation, I think is textbook. And from like a PR perspective, I think is the best that they could do, right? To hold the folks accountable.
Byron, I feel like he's on the interlude.
So I disagree with one of those takes. It's not hats off to the chief of police. And in the beginning, I did think it was hats off to the chief of police. And I'm looking at this on a micro level. Like you say, you hope justice is served. More than likely it will be. First off, they're black.
Yeah.
Okay. Second off, I mean, they're black. So more than likely justice is going to get served. But on the macro level, it's not. We talked about this before. This is what tough on crime looks like. And every city in this country, that's what we vote for. Black people, white people. We always vote for the candidate that's going to be tough on crime. And they create these specialized units like in Baltimore, the Gun Trace Task Force, a lot of other specialty units that wear these plain clothes, that ride in these plain unmarked vehicles.
Atlanta, we had a lot of them, the Red Dog unit in Atlanta back in the day. Yep.
And this is what happens. This Scorpion unit was created under her watch. She just took over in 2021, and this unit was created then. So we're also, I say on the macro level because until we start asking of our police departments to do things differently and to try to stop crime instead of being reactionary to it, look at the causes of crime and try to address that. Until then, we're always going to have incidents like this because people always vote on tough on crime. The other thing is too many bad police are able to easily transfer to just another police department. I have to use the word allegedly, but Chief C.J. Davis, the chief of Memphis police, was fired from Atlanta PD for allegedly trying to retard an investigation of the husband of a sergeant on her department. So the husband of a sergeant on the department was accused of child pornography. The two investigators testified that Davis repeatedly tried to tell them not to investigate him and drop the charges. The guy wound up getting indicted. He had possession of underage pictures of girls and was indicted on child pornography. And she wound up being fired in 2009. Why is a person like that fired for allegedly, involving herself in that case? Why is a person like that even running a police department? She was demoted from major to lieutenant. And this is who you picked to run your police department? Like, there was nobody else better that didn't have that cloud of suspicion over them? So we saw this in Ohio with the officer that shot.
Probably no, though.
It's gotta be.
That's like, and maybe because I watched The Wire recently, and it's just like, it's.
You got to get the muck on you to get up to that level.
So many layers. It's so many.
Because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Darren Wilson had Darren Wilson who shot Michael Brown in not St. Louis, the town right outside St. Louis. Ferguson. Yeah, got Ferg on the show and can't remember. Yeah, Ferguson. I believe he had some misconduct at a previous police department. Just transferred there. The cop that shot Tamir Rice, I believe the same thing. It's just so easy for these so-called bad apples to just move around without any type of holdup.
Yeah, but that goes to the dichotomy or the both opposing sides of the argument, right? There's a lot of people that supported that cop or support those cops all throughout those cases. And so those are the folks that are going to welcome them with open arms. Like, you did the right thing. Those accusations are trash, or, those liberals tried to get you or whatever. And so come on over to, this police department and we're going to support you. That's what ends up happening a lot of times, is that they get those allegations. And there are people who support them and think that they were fine with how they were policing and what they did.
My big question is, because, she did fire them immediately, and it was just announced that they're going to disband the Scorpion unit for good. My big question is, how many complaints have they gotten before this? And if this wasn't caught on video, and if forget video, if Tyree Nichols didn't die, would anything have been done?
And that was my point. This stuff happens. It's probably happening right now. And it's sad. If it doesn't get caught on video, if that person doesn't die.
Yeah.
And it's part of a culture, I had this conversation with one of my coworkers yesterday, and who's in the military. So he got it when I started talking about the real blue lives, it's a thing. It's a part of a culture, right? Mm-hmm. The same way, you can say green lives, the military. Like, there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes in any large organization like that, where you're together so much, you have so much power. It's a lot of things that go on, and we got to address it. We got to stop protecting that and call it what it is. So, once again, my heart goes out to the Nichols family. That's all I can say. It's just until the next family. And honestly, it's been a minute. You know, this is probably the longest we've gone without any major police scandal, right?
I guess when you say major, like nationwide.
Yeah, we haven't. You know, since the looting was bad episode, we haven't had. I think wasn't that the last real? Wasn't George Floyd the last real major national news coverage?
No, there was a couple police shootings after George Floyd.
But I mean, it wasn't big that had, you know, cities about to burn, all kind of stuff. Maybe my timeline, maybe they all just run together.
Atlanta had a shooting like a week or so after George Floyd. Remember in the Wendy's parking lot?
Yeah, you're right. Okay. Overshadowed though, because we were so busy. We were so stuck on the last.
Yeah, we were still reeling from George Floyd.
Yeah. Which is similar to this from the accounts of the video of how inhumane the treatment was. So,
did you guys watch the video?
Oh no, I saw part of it and just, you know, I never watch it. I still haven't watched the whole George Floyd video. Yeah. I just refuse to watch a black man die. I've seen it enough.
Yeah, I couldn't. I mean, I've heard enough stories and everything. I don't have a dog in the fight when it comes to prosecuting them, trying them. I can't change anything that happened. They beat him up. He died. That's all I need to know. I don't need to know blow by blow. I don't need to make assumptions and my thoughts on how it went and, you know, when it became too much and, you know, were they right or wrong. I mean, it's not my call to say. I mean, I'm just, like Ferg said, I'm just tired of having the conversation about it.
Where's Sophie? I need a joke.
She's downstairs, but she has company though. I don't know if she has one. Hold on, let me check though.
Building a portfolio with Fidelity Basket Portfolios is kind of like making a sandwich. It's as simple as picking your stocks and ETFs, sort of like your meats and other toppings, and managing it as one big juicy investment. Now that's pretty good. Learn more at fidelity.com/baskets. Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Hello.
Hola.
Oh, she made it. Hey.
Salutations.
Greetings.
Thank you for gracing us with your presence today, Sophia.
Thank you.
How goes it? How was the birthday party?
Good.
Is that a whale? Is that a narwhal? What was that?
It's a Loch Ness monster. Her name is Nessie.
It looks like a narwhal, I gotta be honest. But it
yeah, but it has no nose.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, I have a very good joke.
Oh.
I will be the judge of that today.
Okay.
I think it's a good joke.
No, don't backpedal. Don't backpedal.
Come on.
Did you know that French fries weren't first cooked in grease? I mean, no. They were first cooked in French, and then they were cooked in grease.
Dang it, Sophie. That was about to be
a good one.
That would have been a good one if I actually said it correctly.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure.
I got too excited for the punchline.
Your quick twitch muscles started going, and give us something else. I think you gotta give us another one. I know you got another one.
Okay, I got into an odd fight with 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. The odds were against me. That makes up for the joke I messed up. Yeah.
Yes. I think the first one would have been better, though. I really like that one.
But I said it wrong.
Yeah. Yes.
It happens.
It happens.
Yeah.
You can't be perfect. You can't be beautiful, smart, and funny all the time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you can. That's what you are. That's what you are.
Not all the time.
All right, baby.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and jump into it. We're back. Three Brothers No Sense, your favorite barbershop style podcast where when you hear the questions, we hear the questions. So we don't prep for this. It's all off the cuff. Who wants to go first?
I
think it's on you, bud.
I'll ask a question. It's damn near rhetorical because I feel like I know the answer. But do you two gentlemen think that black people will ever be equal?
Equal to
and
what?
I guess in this equal. I guess in a sense, I'm asking, will we ever get rid of racism? As we know, like ever, like. Okay, we can concede not our lifetime, but like ever.
When aliens come.
No, I don't think. Okay, I'll say this: I don't think we'll ever get rid of racism or any isms. I think it's just part of the human fiber to
group ourselves.
Yeah, to group ourselves. Anything. I think the best we can hope for is to be more open about our isms and accepting, and to the point where, and I had this conversation with once again with my coworker, where we understand that everybody should be canceled because of their beliefs. Let's say in a perfect world, somebody took a test, a racist test, right? And one of the questions is, would you date outside of your race? No. Another question might be, would you want, your son or daughter dating outside of your race? The answer's like, no, I prefer not to. And so let's say they get their test results back and they find out that they are 87% not racist. There's certain preferences in their life that they just still have. At a certain point, I feel like we have to deal with certain things that people are still going to have their biases. We're never going to all be on one accord. Is it sexist? Is it racist? Is whatever. Like, if you're more aligned with this, especially if it's not harming anybody else. And because I think a lot of times we're so caught up of not being grouped with the, as a racist or as a sexist that we won't talk about the little is that we do have. Like, well, I'm not a racist. I got black friends. Yeah, but you've never dated outside of your race. You never, when was the last time you ate in an intimate environment with somebody of a different race, meaning at your house, their house, those type things? Like, how welcoming are you with other cultures in your house? So like there's still certain biases that you have. That doesn't mean you're not a good person. It's just, like, hey, you're 12% racist. And I'm fine with that. Like it's we have to be able to have those real conversations where now Byron is not canceled because he won't date outside his race. Oh, no, that's reverse racism. No, just a bias. It is what it is. Like, okay, that's my one. I'm 6% racist. I think most people are some percent-ist. Like, most people have some kind of isms associated with them. Nobody's 100% non-sexist, non-racist, non-biased. Like, we all have our biases, and if we can accept that, I think, and talk about it, we'll be in a much better spot.
And so to answer the question, I say yes, because I think at some point we will get there.
Nope.
I don't. And so again, we have to talk about racism as a system versus an individual being racist, right? And I think that's the difference there. I think at some point, and it's going to take generations, right? It's going to take Sophie's great grandkids or something like that. There's going to be a point where it's individuals will be racist, but society won't be anymore. I really feel in my fiber that at some point it's going to get there. Because as we've seen, we've gotten a little less racist, a little less racist, a little less racist each generation. And so as those hardcore racists have those black grandbabies, and they learn to love them, I think it's going to change the dynamic as media starts portraying mixed race couples, right? I'll tip the hand on one joke. One of the jokes in the show was about they don't have same couple or same race couples anymore in commercials. They're like it's an Asian person and a white person, a black person and a white person, a black person and an Asian person, but there's always mixed race couples on every commercial. So companies are seeing it, media is seeing it, kids are seeing it, kids are growing up seeing that. And so as they start to see that, they are going to be inherently a little bit less racist, a little bit more open. And I think as generations happen and as generations go by, we'll see that happen, and we'll see that shift where we'll have some type of not necessarily racism, but there's definitely going to be racist people. There's going to have people that have is there. So I do think black people will get some form of equality, but it's just going to take a really long time.
As long as somebody can openly ban African American history or APM African American history does not. Okay, great. A commercial says that black people and white people date, and now you go buy some Legos or whatever the hell. But they won't teach African American history in school.
Right, but that's because the boomers and Gen X are the people that are mainly voting in Florida. And they still racist. It is what it is, right? I mean, the younger generation don't think like that. You know, our generation, Sophie's generation, or Haley's generation don't think like that. Sophie's generation are going to think a little bit less racist. And that's why I say it's going to take generations. I'm not even saying, like Byron said, not in our lifetime, but there is going to be a point where there's no way DeSantis gets elected in the United States of America.
I hope you're right, but I just feel like as long as two things are in play, and they might go hand in hand, systematic racism benefits more people than not, and white privilege is still a thing. It's like Sophie's generation Haley's generation doesn't really care that much because they haven't had to get into the workforce and feel like they lost a job to this black guy because of affirmative action. You know, even though they're still young, like works. Reality hasn't hit. You know, like when white privilege starts lessening, you fight back. You know, like they're going to fight back as the more liberal and open and accepting the world becomes. There's gonna be a hell of a pushback at some point, and the question is, can we overcome the pushback?
Yeah, we posted a meme a couple of weeks ago. It said white liberals, when they started talking about reparations for black people, and it had it faded into Leonardo DiCaprio from Django. They're down for equal rights and stuff until you start talking about taking away some of their stuff,
taxes. You know, we should have to pay for it. Okay. You know, so it sounds good, but reality hasn't hit for the youth. When it's one of those things that the reason why a lot of folks thought that black person got it because of affirmative action was because that inherent thought that black people weren't smart enough or good enough to actually have the job, right? So when we talk about representation and things like that, that for our kids isn't a thing because they see black doctors on TV. They see black doctors in the community. They see black people portrayed in these actual roles. And so the thought of a black person can't hold that, a black person can't be this, a black person can't get that, they can't be smarter than me, that is not as prominent in those kids as it was in these generations, even our generation. And I feel like that's going to get more and more as we go.
Okay. I lean towards a lot of what Razi said, but I will say for all the accomplishments that we've made towards equality. I do feel like in the recent years we've taken some steps backwards, just with, like Ferg says, some of the elections that we've had tells you exactly where America stands. You look at a lot of the other things and their reaction to it, it's like we have so long to go. So that's why I can lean towards what you're saying, Razi, but like you said, I just don't think we'll see it in our lifetime. I'm not even sure Jasmine's grandkids will see it in their lifetime, but at some point, like, it's hard to fathom, but at some point you gotta think like, man, because like we look at slavery and stuff as a long, long time ago, but it wasn't that long ago. Like, if you think about it, some of our like great grandparents were like kids of slaves. You know what I mean? It wasn't that long ago. So I don't know if it just takes more and more time, or just like, I think Razi, you mentioned just breaking down the whole systemic part of it. But I do want to caution you. I know you said we may always have individual racism, but individuals make up the system. So it's gonna have to be like a very, very small amount of individuals for it to change. But we'll see. We won't see it in our lifetime. So
it's a capitalist society. Racism thrives.
Yeah.
You got to have a lesser class, and that's one of the easiest ways to divide us is racism. So, all right, who's up next?
Lowe's knows that free is just better. That's why MyLowe's Rewards is free to join. As a member, you earn points towards MyLowe's money on eligible purchases, get exclusive free gifts, and earn free shipping at Silver Key status, all on top of weekly member-only deals. Don't wait. Join MyLowe's Rewards for free today and start saving more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
You know what's smart? Enjoying a fresh gourmet meal at home that you didn't have to cook. Meet Factor, your loophole in the laws of mealtime. Chef-crafted meals delivered with a tap, ready in just 2 minutes. You know what's even smarter? Treating yourself without cheating your goals. Factor is dietitian approved, chef prepared, and you plated. Pretty smart, huh? Refresh your routine and eat smart with Factor. Learn more at factormeals.com.
I can go. Mine may be quick. I always say that, but so I was talking with one of my army buddies, and she called me out of the blue. It was Santian, my team sergeant from when I was in Iraq, and shout out to her. Something big's coming. She hasn't announced it yet, but I'm so proud of her. But she was calling to tell me about that and everything. And talking to her, I slipped back into military mode. And Ferg, you probably know where I'm going with this now. And just in our maybe 10 or 15 minute conversation, I found myself cursing like a sailor just in that conversation. And so I want to ask you fellas, are there people that when you get around them, you just inherently curse more, or just get freer with your words? And why do we do that? Like, why do we, I guess, code switch into those modes versus just kind of our normal day-to-day speech?
I've cut back quite a bit on cursing in general, no matter who I'm around. But at one time, yes, it was very noticeable that I did that, depending on who I was around.
I already know who the person that brings that out of you is.
But, like, if I'm around a Wendell or James, it's definitely going to fly out. James makes you curse, by the way. I mean, it's like the only language he understands sometimes, man. But, versus my coworkers, man, or like just other people in general, I tone it down. And I think it's because, like you asked, why do we code switch like that? I think it's just, that, so like me and Wendell, for instance, we have like certain, just like you and Ferg, I'm sure have, me and Wendell, we have certain inside jokes that, something we experience together or whatever like that it's so funny that every time we see each other, we reference it or we talk about it. And it requires cursing. You know what I mean? Like it was a lot of interesting people in Tomanville and going to some of those stores to buy certain beverages that you would come across, and funny stories came behind that. So yeah, man. So I think that's why versus like a lot of my coworkers I met when I was in my mid-20s, 30s. Now I'm 40. I'll be 42 next month. So, as you get older, you tend to talk like that a little less versus when you see someone from your childhood, when you're reminiscing and stuff, you revert back to that kind of talk.
Yeah, I agree with Byron. So it's two parts. Like one is, like you said, if it's somebody from your childhood or so, it depends on when you meet them in your life and what the norm is. If I meet you, the average person off the street in my 30s and my 40s, the conversation, our relationship, the jokes and the banter is different than it was when we're talking about walking the hallowed halls of John L. LaFleur, and then also just got to call it is when we're around the bros. I think it's a culture thing. Sometimes you slip back into even though I might meet somebody tomorrow, if we hang out enough, we're in the same, there's certain, because of things that may be going on, like we might be drinking, we might be playing some sports, or it's certain things that bring out certain conversations that might move better, or the flow is more natural with including choice words. The dialogue changes. And I think it's just kind of part of the culture. Even you guys, and it's not even the two of you. Like when we all get together.
Oh yeah.
When we all get together. When it's the three of us, Sherman, Wendell, James, Marquis, like it's somebody. First of all, somebody's gonna get cussed out at some point.
Yeah. That is true.
Somebody's gonna get cussed out. Somebody's gonna bang their hand on the table, cussing. Somebody's gonna bring up an old story about something, and you and a debate's gonna come up. Like that's not how it really happened, and like those things are gonna happen. So I guess in some of my more freeing moments, when we're people I can relax with, when I don't have to be the 42-year-old father, husband, businessman, like I don't have to be the professional version of me. And I get to let my guard down and just kind of slip into that carefree, little to no inhibition version of myself. So, and Porsche. Porsche makes me cuss a lot. The top of the list. Porsche Dion Duval.
I've met Porsche only once, and she seems like
she makes you cuss.
She's sweet and is innocent as white's only pie. So I don't know how she makes you curse her.
That little, see? That little,
yeah. You kind of course, right? You went down that route that I was kind of gonna go. It's how comfortable I am, and it's a comfort level, and the freer I am and the more curse words I use, the more relaxed I am at times. And so like it's funny, like my kids are here, right? And you don't even intend, like I intentionally, or I know that I'm about to code switch or I'm code switching. But with that, when I code switch into kind of like I'm starting to curse more, it happens unintentionally. It just really kind of flows into it, right? Depending on, like you said, who I'm talking to or what's like group I'm around, right? Like the bros or the military folks and folks that naturally curse a lot anyway, you just slip into that mode and you curse a lot more with them. But my kids will see it, and like even when the kids are there, you'll slip into that mode, and that's how I know it's accidental, because I wouldn't intentionally slip into that mode if the kids were there, and they'll call me out on it sometimes, or Daddy, you said this and everything. But it's one of those things that lets me know that I'm more comfortable, right? I'm letting that guard down. It doesn't necessarily have to be that I'm drinking or anything like that. It's just like I'm feeling more carefree and I'm not as like on edge and watching what I say and everything. So if folks out there, listeners, when you hear us cursing, we have to bleep out things on this show. And that's why we're having fun. We're hanging out. We're giving you the raw. It's not scripted. It's not us trying to put on for, the show or anything like that. It really is us just kind of being ourselves on the show. And that's why we have to bleep stuff out. But that's really what it is. And so when we're cursing over, especially for me, when I'm cursing, that means I'm really kind of feeling it and I'm hanging out and I'm letting it loose.
Yeah. Because I grew up with that mentality where you curse because you don't have anything better to say. Mm-hmm. And I kind of believe that at one point, but now I'm at the point where I curse because I don't want to say anything else. I want to say it the way I say it, because I'm that comfortable. And shame on when you answered, Razi, it made me think of the comfort level you have or you have during these moments, or what the old folks when we were growing up were probably would have called that, go outside or go upstairs moment for the kids. Mm-hmm. Because they were about to get comfortable. They were about to be in their element. And those are the environments where you find yourself cursing, because it's around us. It's around the bruhs. It's around your military groups. It's not around your work friends. It's not around, they can go to a work function or something at the school and they don't have to worry about that because you're not relaxed. They don't have to go outside when you're talking to the teacher, but they might have to go outside if Byron comes to Birmingham, you're talking to Byron.
Mm-hmm. Y'all go in y'all room. We about to sit around and have a drink and chill out. Yeah,
that's a level of relaxation. So when our parents used to do that, that means they about to go into full relaxation mode. They're about to be free. And we might not do that as much as they did, but that's what it comes down to. It was like a certain level of comfort that they had. And you're right. I got to be comfortable with you or pissed off, one or the other. My question, I wasn't really going to bring this one up, but I had it on my list of questions. And you brought up our kids, Razi, earlier during your answer about maybe not their generation, but sooner or later, racism maybe being eliminated, but them not seeing race the same way we did. Stop me if you've heard this one before. Like, did your parents ever say you haven't seen anything? How did they say it? You haven't seen anything that I haven't seen, like, or vice versa. Like, everything you're doing, they've seen before. Mm-hmm. Like, we're trying to reinvent the wheel. I grew up thinking that, and I believe that, because I feel like our generation is probably closer to our parents' generation and generations past. Do you think that still holds true? Do you think that things are shifting so much that the things that, I've seen it all, everything you've done and seen, I've seen before? Like, I think, is there a shift? Is that irrelevant? Is that like obsolete now?
Yes, it's different. I would like, maybe not us specifically, but I'm sure there are parents close to our age now that haven't seen some of the things their kids are going through, like cyberbullying. That wasn't a thing when we were in middle school. I mean, we wasn't even on Al Gore's internet yet. I mean, Beyonce's internet. Yeah. But I'm sure, I can't like really point out anything specific, but I'm sure there are things now just because of the access we have now. Like, our parents were able to say that because for the most part, if it didn't happen in their city or anything like that, or with people that they knew or grew up around, then they didn't see it. But now we have access, these kids especially have access to the entire world. And so I'm sure they are seeing and experiencing things that, like, it may be similar to something like I mentioned, cyberbullying. Like, bullying has always been around, but bullying usually it had to be face to face for it to happen in person. Now somebody can they can do it anonymously and online and
it's constant 24 hours. That's the other part.
So there may be similar instances, but I'm sure there are examples where there are kids that are dealing with things that their parents were not prepared for.
I'm going to give it to you right. That's a good example because my bully, your mama's bully, her mama's bully, her dad's, granddad's bully, like all of them were the same dude. Like it was the same, had to be in your face. They had to just stay away from him. If you can get out of school early and run home, it was over. You know, like it's that. So, you know, cyberbullying is a good example, but I think when you look at the internet too. So I'm going to bring my answer in a little while, but I definitely wanted to bring that up. Razi, what you got?
Yeah, I definitely think there are things that our kids are running into that we weren't ready for, prepared for, have seen. You know, it's one of those things that kids are seeing things younger and younger. And so maybe it might not be that we haven't dealt with it, but we haven't dealt with it, or nobody's dealt with it at that age. And like Byron said, because of the internet, right? They're getting exposed to things much sooner and unintentionally, where we could be more intentional and our parents could be more intentional about when we got exposed to things and how we got exposed to things. So I think while it's not we run into it or they run into it, we ran into it before them, you didn't run into it at 6. You didn't run into it at 5. So the experience is very, very different for a 5-year-old seeing some of the things that these kids see versus what we saw at 12, 14, 16, right? I think that is a huge difference there for us. But I do think while there's a new twist to it, a new flavor, they are running into the exact same things, right? Everybody is worrying about the mental health of the child and everything. And I think we as an adult, as a generation, are looking at what they're experiencing, and as they experience those new things earlier or more, we are responding in kind because we know that they're doing it. And so it's a hard one to really answer in a black and white, because I do think it's different, but I don't think it's new, if that makes sense.
Okay. The more I sit and think about it, even listen to your answers, I think it's time to reinvent the wheel. Like, no matter how much we want to say it's not that different or it's just a little, I think it's a completely new ball game. I mean, think the regular stuff and things like the pandemic. Like, we still haven't seen the long-term effect. Like, these kids experience something that adults struggle with. There's going to be PTSD from that. They experience death and stuff like that on levels during when my daughter had to worry, like, is somebody going to die going to the store? Like, those are things we never had to think about as kids. Those are big ticket issues, but think about things like gay marriage. Like, these are things that we really didn't have to think about. That wasn't really a thing. We barely had to think about the LGBT, the gay community, because back then it wasn't all this. It was just the gays, right? You know, we didn't know anybody that dated. There was no gay couples at John L. We suspected somebody might be gay. These kids are going to the prom. They're going to middle school proms. They're going to they're self-identifying in elementary school. Like, there's all these things that we're dealing with, and like, that's new to us, that our kids are dealing with. That's becoming part of their norm. Like, we're still trying to figure out how to deal with people's identities, let alone our kids. We never had, that's a boy. I don't care what in 1997, you were a boy. You know, like, it didn't matter how you saw yourself. And it's probably safer for you to see yourself as a boy, and not date a girl, or not date at all. Think about, people that we've seen who have come out, and a lot of them didn't date in high school. Like, there's people that never had a boyfriend or girlfriend or anything like that. They couldn't date. Now these people are openly dating, and they're having the same, and it's not a big deal. Like, Z was telling me she had a student at one time was talking about the student came in because they were heartbroken because they had just broke up with their boyfriend. No, she had just broke up with her girlfriend, and in Europe, the way she was bawling and stuff like that, you would think it was like this long-term person they had been dating. But you got to think, this is middle school. A week and a half, I loved it in her. You know, like they're dealing with the same problems we dealt with. They're like, you know, you date a girl for a week and a half, 2 weeks, and you find out she go to the dollar movie and she like Byron now. Now you lost your lady to Byron. Now you're heartbroken. These same things, but it's on a whole different level. Nothing that we experience. We're talking about the race things. Race wasn't the acceptance of race, the inclusion. You know, we didn't grow up with it in such an inclusive environment. You know, I was at my daughter's house day yesterday at her school, and just little things about being so politically correct. You know, they sit crisscross applesauce now. I still don't know what the hell that means. You know, like that was Indian style back in the day. Like everything is just changing and evolving, and I say that because we're learning how to deal with it, or it's new to us. Therefore, it has to be new to our kids, or the norm for our kids. The stuff that's new to us is a norm for our kids. You know, we talked about the internet and stuff like that. We're talking about cyberbullying, just dating online dating. You know, these kids, these youth are having online sex. These girls are sexting, and girls and guys are sexting at 13, 14. They're saying that a lot of people have sent nude photos before they've had their first kiss. Like, these are things that we did not. Sexuality, sex was a whole nother ball game. You know, in 1998, what made you a freak is nothing compared to. I don't even know. Can somebody be considered a freak these days? You know, like it's
slut shame.
Yes, you know, like now, hell, they're protecting that. You know, the people that were considered freaky back in the day would be well accepted with open arms today. And as a matter of fact, the people who clowned them back then, like Byron said, would be saying they're slut shaming. Like, the women have way more freedoms, way more liberties to do stuff. It's just, I just feel like we're reinventing the wheel. Like, we're trying to figure things out. Even dating. You know, we were having a conversation about, you know, poly relationships and stuff like that. Relationships, it's still conservative, you know, guy, girl, you know, one person. Still is the norm, but people are experimenting with relationships, dating, marriage, the end game a lot more now. Like, it's not that you want our kids have to grow up, get married, and have the American dream is changing. You know, back in the day, you would want Sophie to get married, have kids, do this and this. Now Sophie might like, you know what? I'm going to be worried about my career. I'm going to travel the world. I'm going to experience me, date, have fun, and do what I want to do. And maybe adopt when I'm 42 and be a single mother. That's a realization for a lot of people. You know, like there's worlds, there's opportunities that these kids are having, that they're exposures, experiences, things that it's just different. For us, it was very cut and dry.
You brought up a good one too with active shooting, school shootings, because I think the only drills we did were hurricane and fire drills. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean tornado and fire drills. Yeah. Now they do lockdown.
It's a different world. You know, like I never thought about that. And maybe this was still going on back then, but national news coverage wasn't happening. You know, I don't know. There's so many different things going on in the world that our kids are dealing with that I just think, because I've said this before, even I feel like it has to be different for them because it's different for us. You know, even with opportunities with dating and having couples, black couples especially, who have more opportunities, who have probably more money, you know. And so the way my parents dated, or a lot of our parents dated, and aunts and uncles dated, it's different. You know, it's my kids have way more opportunity than I did, and that's becoming the norm. You know, these kids are the finances. You know, kids having credit cards, all this stuff. But you know, I just feel like we're not going back. So we have to take a second. It's like, I can't raise my kids the same way. You brought up mental health. Like, you know, everybody still wants to. I don't think our parents care about mental health like that. They were just trying to keep us safe.
No.
Like, we just started talking about mental. That's perfect example. We just started talking about mental health for ourselves. Damn, the kids. Like, we just started accepting that we need mental health, let alone a 7-year-old.
Right.
You know, you've been awarded all this stuff, and people will probably look at you sideways for going to therapy. You know? So, my bad.
Nah, man, good question. Good question.
Anything else, fellas? Let's go ahead and close it out.
So good, so good, so good.
Get ready, because it's time to save at your Nordstrom Rack store. Now through February 23rd, take an extra 40% off red tag clearance boots, jackets, and sweaters. We're talking the best cold weather styles from Vince, Cole Haan, Sam Edelman, and more. All on sale for even less. All sales final. You never know what you'll find, but you know it's gonna be so good. Great brands, great prices. That's why you rack.
This episode is brought to you by Nerds Gummy Clusters, the sweet treat that always elevates the vibe. With a sweet gummy surrounded with tangy, crunchy nerds, every bite of Nerds Gummy Clusters brings you a whole new world of flavor. Whether it's game night, on the way to a concert, or kicking back with your crew, unleash your senses with Nerds Gummy Clusters.
How do I want to put this? You know what? Before I get to that, real quick, shout out to the Inspire You on Air audience, the new beat of the Bay. Thank you guys for listening. Inspire You, thank you for having us. Can't wait to see some of you guys at the Sneaker Ball in 3 weeks, February 17th. So hope you're in the building. We'll be in that thing, hopefully with a bottle of Johnny Walker Blue at the table and some more beverages. But what I wanted to say was Keely Williams of the group 3LW came out and said that she smashed, like, I don't know, all the members of B2K, or like two. How many members of B2K was it? 3 or 4?
4, wasn't it? And then it went down to 3.
Okay, so she smashed like all but one of them. And, you know, Ferg just got through talking about, you know, we don't slut shame anymore, and women are able to be free with their sexuality. I don't know what prompted her to come out with this, but I just want to defend her because Drea once said that your wholeness gets deleted after 2 years. And so that caught Ferg off guard. I just want the listeners to know Ferg was looking at his phone. And when I said that, he looked up like, nigga, what? Drea said that it doesn't matter what you've done. If you go 2 years without being a then your past hotness gets deleted. And so since I know
so let me, 'cause I got to get the rules right. So it's not a statute of limitation on that one act. It's a statute of limitation on the hotness. So like you got to go 2 years free.
Yeah.
So if you go,
she said she went like 2 years without any bodies on her. You know, she wasn't being a hoe for about 2 years, and it's been deleted.
Okay, because I thought the act had a lot.
You get a fresh, clean record.
Yeah, so you gotta. That's a tall task just to delete your hotness, your whole, your facts.
Listen, bankruptcy don't even erase your credit history like that. But listen, man. Keely, live in your truth. I'm happy that you're able to. I wouldn't have recommended you admitted it, but hey, you did, and just want to let you know that you're good to go because your wholeness has been deleted. So it doesn't matter. You know another good way to delete your wholeness? Don't tell everybody you smashed. That's all I got, man. Make sure y'all subscribe to Three Brothers No Sense. We're on all podcast platforms. Check us out. I looked at our ratings, guys. We're like a 4.9 out of 5. So not sure who the one hater is that didn't give us 5 stars, but we appreciate that very, very high rating. So if you're on a podcast platform that allows to rate us, please give us 5 stars.
Probably Porsche. That evil small little Negro.
So check us out. Make sure y'all subscribe. Go ahead, Razi.
Man, all I got is, along with going to your major podcasting platforms and following us, go to threebrothersnosense.com. Check us out there. Copy some of that merch. We love to see our names on your chest. Pause. I don't know. Why are you looking at me like that, Buff?
Just caught him on guard.
I didn't know you was gonna word it like that, but okay. and if we being real, it's really our faces on your chest. Funk Pop faces.
Yes, the Funko Pops. So just go check us out there, man. Grab you some of the merch, and keep sharing and telling folks about the show, man, because we're growing, we continue to grow, and we want to grow as much as we can. So we appreciate you guys. Check us out.
Okay, with that being said, this is Three Brothers No Sense, your favorite local podcast. If you see us in a couple of weeks during Mardi Gras, especially at the Sneaker Ball, come up and speak to us. Let us know you appreciate the show. Let us know. Tell us what your favorite episode is. Come to us. As you know, we can be entertaining and we will be drunk. So let me disclaimer out there. So whatever we say, our response don't mind us. But come speak to us. Let us know. Take a picture with Three Brothers. Post it on our Facebook page. Tag us in it. We'll love to get to meet everybody. So look forward to seeing everybody. I hope everybody looks great. And side note, have any of you guys seen the new House Party?
No.
It's out? I didn't know it was out.
Yeah, it came out 2 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah. I'm watching on the streaming service.
Not good?
It's bad.
It is all over the place. When I say you will never guess the things that are going to happen, and like the people that just show up, guest appearances on the show, it has its funny moments. And they do pay homage to the original show and some other black movies from the time, but I was quite entertained. I laughed the whole I laughed.
Be sure to check out You People, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention that. Yep, You People. Yep. Good. Is it good? Okay. All right. I was going to watch that tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, with that being said, Three Brothers No Sense. 6 rules of podcast. Listen, like, share, subscribe, comment. And most importantly, listen again. Talk to you next week.